Hello, guys. How are you? Hope you're fine. My name is Mariano. I'm a lawyer here in Brazil, and I'm also an English teacher. And now I'm going to give you a sample lesson on legal English, right? And we are talking today about injunctions and trying to understand small text and get more vocabulary, like technical vocabulary for legal English, right? So, the book we are using is this one here called Legal English: How to Understand and Master the Language of Law, the English edition. You can find it here on Amazon by for 541 reais. It's not very cheap, I know, but so we are using the Kindle version, right? The PDF version. First of all, talking about injunctions, we have the learning objectives here, uh, which are the first one: determine appropriate terms and vocabulary for an injunction order in compliance with our client's instructions. So, the first thing we have to notice here is that the legal system in Anglo-Saxon countries like the United States and England is sometimes different, most of the times different from Brazilian tradition, Brazilian legal tradition. So we have to understand that what we learn here is not exactly what doesn't exactly represent Brazilian legal system, right? So injunctions is a kind of court order that it's similar to our liminar or ordem judicial here in Brazil. So the first goal we have is exactly to get to improve our vocabulary, right? That's what they're saying here. Second one, consider appropriate grammar, including modal verbs and tenses. So we're not leaving behind the that grammar part. Okay, we're also going to study that. Appreciate the legal aspects of an injunction order, of course. Understand how does that work, that injunction order. Consider and understand the effect of a prohibitory injunction order, because uh, you will see that here we have at least two kinds of injunction order, and the first one is the prohibitory order, and the other one is command, telling someone to do something. Consider a draft and draft a prohibitory injunction order on behalf of a client. This is the practical part. So we're going to try to draft a prohibitory injunction order, uh, considering the need of your client. So let's start first reading each paragraph of the book and also trying to explain it in different words, right? With in your own words. So, introduction. An injunction is a court order requiring a part to do or prohibiting a part from doing a particular act. Some injunctions are required extremely urgently if they are to be effective. It's like our liminar here in Portuguese, in Brazil, sorry. There is also sometimes a need to obtain an injunction in secrecy. It's the same here. This need will arise where giving notice of the application to the party the injunction is being sought against would be likely to defeat the purpose of obtaining the injunction. So, when you need something to be in secret, most of the times it's because if the other party knows about that, they can spoil the act, right? So it's not so effective. So it needs to be made in secrecy. In such situations, the injunction application can be made to court without providing notice of the application to that other party. Drafting injunction orders. The most important aspect here, the most important difference is that here in Brazil, the lawyer doesn't need to draft an injunction order. And in Anglo-Saxon legal system, especially in England, the lawyer needs to draft the order to make sure that the judge will understand and deliver the order exactly as the lawyer's client needs. Okay, so when applying for an injunction order, it is usual practice to draft the order you were asking the court to grant. Exactly like I said. This draft order can be produced to the judge to indicate the terms of the injunction order you are seeking on behalf of your client. We shall draft such an order shortly, but first let us consider a few good practice points for drafting injunction orders. So now you're going to understand some good practices to to draft that order we need, right? The wording of an injunction order requires careful thought. It is necessary to state clearly and precisely what the party the order is being made against, term the respondent, may do, must do, and or must not do. There must not therefore be any uncertainty as to the meaning of the terms of the injunction. So the first thing we need to remember is the terms need to be clear. And the person, the respondent, which is the person who's the person who is going to receive that order, needs to understand exactly the terms of what the order means, right? If there is any ambiguity in your description of what the respondent is being prohibited from or compelled to do, then this may provide the respondent with a legal loophole. We are checking this vocabulary in 5 minutes. This could defeat the intended purpose of the injunction. For example, being by enabling the respondent to continue doing something which the injunction was specifically intended to prevent the respondent from doing. So here we have some interesting terms, right? The first one is, let me see here, respondent. So I suggest to you as a student, as a legal English student, to write down these terms you don't understand and check these terms, these vocabulary on a good dictionary or on Google Translator, something like that, right? So the first one would be defendant. It's my point of view, okay? It's my opinion. In some cases, some specific cases like this, like when we need to improve our vocabulary quickly and to get uh, many words in a short period of time, I recommend you to go to Google Translator and translate it into Portuguese because it's going to be easy to understand, right? So in this case, let's use Google Translator for that, right? Defendant. The best word for that would be réu in Portuguese, right? Or maybe requerido, demandado, okay? Good, let's go. So the next interesting word here would be loophole, right? Let's write it down here. Loophole, which can also be translated to brecha, right? So the next word here would be watertight, which means something that prevents the water to leak, right? In Portuguese, we would call it estanque, right? Or impermeável, something like that. So let's write it down here. Estanque impermeável. Let's go on. Nowadays, the court expects the draft order to be written in plain English rather than archaic legal language or jargon. So instead of using like legal English for these cases here, it's better using the normal English. in order to be understood by uh, regular people, not only lawyers, right? Often the respondent being served with an injunction will be an individual who is not a lawyer, of course. The terms setting out what he or she is being ordered by the court to do or not to do must therefore be readily understandable by a layperson, particularly since failure to comply with an injunction results in the defaulting part being in contempt of court. So, uh, let's see here. Layperson. Layperson would be someone who is not a lawyer. Okay, in Portuguese we would call it leigo. So let's write it down. Sorry, here it is. Particularly since failure to comply an injunction, uh, considering that, not complying that, right? Not obeying to that court order would be considered an offense to the law, sometimes even a crime, like here in Brazil. Uh, let's see here, contempt. Oh, defaulting part. Default is good, right? Default can be translated as faltoso or inadimplente. The defaulting part would be a parte inadimplente. Okay. Uh, contempt. Let's go to the. Let's go to Google Translator. In this case, I would translate as desobediência. Okay. So let's go on. Now, we have a small case so we can understand how this injunction will work in a practical way. Okay, let's go. Facts pattern. You are now a partner in the law firm named Stringwood and Evans. Da, 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 da. Thomas Shapiro, managing director of Travel Graph Limited, has consulted you. So we have a client right now, okay? Thomas Shapiro. This is the same client. Okay, no problem. Don't worry. Never mind. Thomas Shapiro explains that Kadir Saleh, a former director of Travel Graph, left the company last month. So they had a director who is now out of the company. Okay, he doesn't work there anymore. Shapiro and his fellow directors at Travelgraph are very concerned, however, because Kadir Saleh is about to join a competitor called WorldLink Limited. So this guy, this former director, went to another company. Okay, so he's going to start a job in another company, a rival company, competitor. So let's select some words here to put there in our vocabulary list. Uh, I think there are two uh, important words here. Let me see here. Competitor is good, it's a good word. So we can write it down. It's important to write down the words, the most important words or words we don't know, so we can memorize it better. Okay, competitor would be competidor or maybe a concorrente. It's better in Portuguese. Here it is. There is also partner in a law firm. Okay. All right, that is former. Do you understand former, guys? Former is like someone who is not doing that job anymore. In Portuguese, we call it ex, former director, ex-diretor, okay, in Portuguese. World Link Limited, the competitor, is a major competitor of Travel Graph. Their premises also being in the city, only a few miles away, in fact, from Travel's Graph office. This is an interesting word here. We can also search. The premises is the offices. The office of a company. Let's go to the translator here just to check. I would translate it as instalações. Let's go. Estabelecimento, maybe. So their premises are very close to the Travels Graphs office. Thomas Shapiro has also discovered that WorldLink Limited intend to publish a new series of travel guides of major world cities using computer files belonging to Travel Graph. Your client told you that his competitor company, that WorldLink Limited, is planning to publish a travel guide using that computer files that will be brought by Kadir Saleh. So Kadir Saleh had access to these files in the course of his previous employment with Travel Graph. Thomas Shapiro is furious to now learn that Saleh has retained possession of these and that he has disclosed all the confidential material and information to WorldLink Limited. So he now understands that his former director is going to use the company's computer files to give to the rival company. Okay. Thomas Shapiro shows you a page from Kadir Saleh's service agreement, his contract, okay, his employment contract with Travel Graph, indicating a valid restrictive covenant preventing Kadir Saleh for a period of 12 months from working for a competitor, disclosing confidential information acquired by him in the course of his employment with Travel Graph, including, of course, computer files to World Link Limited or any other party. So here we have some interesting words. Agreement, let's say. Uh, which can be translated as contrato, okay? And also a retained possession. Which is in Portuguese manteve or reteve. Uh, disclosed. He has disclosed. He showed. Okay. Uh, let's say it in Portuguese. Mostrou. Exibiu. All this confidential material, information to old link. Okay. Service agreement indicating valid restrictive covenants. Covenants are cláusulas. Cláusulas contratuais, okay? So what they're saying here, preventing, stopping, right? Prohibiting Kadir Saleh from a period of 12 months from work for a competitor. So he couldn't, right? His job agreement um, prevented him from working to another company, like a rival or competitor, right? For a period of 12 months after working for Travel Graph, and also prevented him from showing that information he got from Travel Graph to any other company, of course. These kinds of covenants are very common for companies like that. Uh, Thomas Shapiro now, therefore, wants you to obtain an injunction on behalf of Travel Graph Limited against Kadi Saleh to enforce these terms, thereby preventing Saleh from. So he wants us to uh, get an injunction uh, in the court trying to prevent Saleh to commencing work with World Link Limited from working, preventing him from working there, stopping him from working there, right? And preventing him from disclosing confidential information, including computer files acquired by him in the course of working for Travel Graph Limited to World Link Limited or any other party. Good. Assume that this application will be presented to the High Court in London tomorrow. Now, read the following relevant excerpt from Kadi Saleh's service agreement with the Travel Graph Limited, with which Thomas Shapiro has handed to you. So now we are reading the part of his job agreement, right? That prevents him from giving that information and from working to another company. Is there any interesting word here? Let me see. Except, maybe except is like an extract part of a text. Okay, let's write it down here. Except would be excerto in Portuguese or extrato. Okay, a part that you get from a text. And also, let me see. Oh, application is also good because we use that a lot in legal English. Uh, Let me see. How can we translate that? Requerimento, maybe. All right, let's go. So let's read it out. So let's read his service agreement, okay, with Travel Graph Limited, which is our client. Confidentiality. In order to protect the confidentiality of the company's affairs, business, and intellectual property rights, the sales director hereby agrees not to disclose to any other party during the course of his employment or thereafter any confidential information, including in electronic form, relating to the company, nor to use any such information in any way for any purpose following termination of employment with the company. This restriction is to remain valid for a period of 12 months from termination of the sales director's employment with the company. So there is a confidentiality covenant that prevents Saleh from giving any information he gets in Travel Graph for any other company during the period he was working there and also 12 months after. So we have the second covenant here, the restraint of trade. The sales director hereby covenants with the company that he shall not, for a period of 12 months following termination of employment with the company, either directly or indirectly engaged in, be involved in, or employed by any activity or business in competition with the company. So this second clause here, the second covenant here, prevents him not only to give information, but also to work for another company, right? A competitor, a rival company. So he couldn't get a job in another company for a period of 12 months. This first exercise was only a reading exercise to understand the case and to understand the covenants, the most important covenants here in this agreement. All right. And so we are going to the second exercise, which would be drafting this injunction order. So let's go on. The following is a precedent for a suitable type of injunction order. Complete the. Oh, is there any word here? Is there any interesting words here? Let me see. Extract. Okay, what was the last word? We application, accept, covenants, disclosed. Let me see. Just a second. Oh, yeah. We have some words here. Hereby. Hereby is also very common here in Brazil. We use it as por meio deste. Let's check just a second. Yeah, exactly. Thereafter, many interesting words here. It would be logo após, maybe. Yeah, let's check. Yeah, depois disso, consequentemente, ok. Subsequentemente, por conseguinte, ok. Thereafter, let's see. Confidential information relating to the company, nor to use name, okay? Uh, use any such information in any way for any purpose following termination of employment with the company. So he couldn't use that information anyway after the termination of his contract, okay, the end of his contract. This restriction is to remain valid for a period of 12 months from termination of the sales director employment with the company. All right. Restraint of trade. Let's see, restraint of trade. Restrição de comércio, ok. Hereby we have already learned this word, okay? It's por meio deste ou por aqui, right? Covenant with the company. This is a verb, right? He's doing an agreement, right? He agrees with the company that he shall not, for a period of 12 months following termination of employment with the company, either directly or indirectly engage in, be involved. Okay, let's put here engage. Envolver, it's a good word. Okay. Be involved in or employed be involved or be employed by any activity or business in competition with the company. I think it's fine. So let's go on. Drafting. Do you understand drafting, guys? It's like to make a quick text before the formal text. Okay, it's like in Portuguese we would call it rascunho. Esboço. Esboço is better. Minuta. The following is a precedent for a suitable type of injunction order. Complete the drafting. Did I use this word injunction here? No, I didn't. Injunction. Uh, yeah. Dominar. Ordem judicial. So, the following is a precedent for a suitable type of injunction order. Complete the drafting of the injunction to comply with your client's instructions by 1. Deleting clauses in square brackets within the draft as appropriate. So we're going to delete the brackets. Complete the blank spaces using relevant information from the text above, as well as by selecting appropriate entries from the following panel. So now we are going to make this exercise to draft an injunction order, right? In a practical way. Phrases for inserting in draft injunction order. Contempt of court. Let's write it down here in our vocabulary session. Good, let's search the translation here. Contempt of court would be desobediência, okay? I think we have already done here, right? No problem. Order, it's very easy. Respondent, which is réu. Sent to prison, to be arrested, okay? To be sent to prison. Confidential information relating to travel graph. Solicitor. A solicitor is a lawyer, okay? It's a specific kind of lawyer in England. To the court. Oh, let's write it down. Solicitor here. To the court. Set aside this order. Let's see the meaning of set aside this order. Okay, to ignorar, maybe. Yeah. Respondent shall pay the applicant. Deve pagar o réu deve pagar ao requerente, o requerido deve pagar ao requerente, okay? And the applicants, which would be, uh, in this case, it's probably a possessive case, right? Pertencente ao aplicante ou do aplicante em português. Do requerente, sorry. Draft injunction order. In the High Court of Justice, Queen's Bench Division. Don't worry very much about that, okay? It's about the legal system in England. Claim number 27 HC 4045. Okay. Mr. Justice Jackson. Juiz. Okay, justice in this case is juiz. Let me write here. It's usually the judge in the Supreme Court. Date. between the applicant. So we need to write it down here, the name of the applicant. Okay, so we can try to do this exercise at home. Try to use the information we had before to complete that blank spaces. So we have here the applicant's name, right, which would be the name of the company. Let's check. Forgot the name of the company. Travel Graph Limited. The respondent, his name is not Thomas Shapiro. The guy is Kadir Saleh. Okay. Draft order for an injunction. The title. Important. Notice to the respondent. Nota ao requerido. This order. Oh, now we have to delete here. Okay. Prohibits you from doing or obliges you to do the acts set out in this order. So the first thing we need to understand, is it a prohibition or is it a command? We need to prevent him from doing something, right? So we need to delete here and keep this one. Okay, this order prohibits you from doing the acts set out in this order. You should read it carefully. You are advised to consult let's see, contempt of court, order, respondent sent to prison, confidential information relating to travel graph, solicitor to the court, set aside this order, respondent shall pay the applicant or applicants. The most suitable word here would be solicitor, right? You should consult a solicitor or you should consult a lawyer. So you are advised to consult a solicitor as soon as possible. You have a right to ask the court to vary or, let's see, vary here. Alterar, modificar, mudar, okay? Vary. Let's write it down here, vary. You have the right to ask the courts to vary or contempt, order, respondent sent to prison, confidential, solicitor to the court, set aside this order, respondent shall pay the applicant or applicants. Maybe set aside this order, to ignore it, to vary or set aside this order. If you disobey this order, you may be found guilty of contempt to court, which is maybe a crime. It may be sent to prison. That's important information, isn't it? Or fined, or your assets may be seized. Is it seized? Let me see here. The first one, fined. In Portuguese, we would call it multar. Multado, okay. Your assets may be seized. Assets, bens, and seized, apreendidos. We can also use here in Portuguese like penhorados. Upon hearing counsel from the applicant and counsel from the respondent. In this sentence here is saying that the justice, the judge, heard both parties, okay, of the injunction order. It is ordered that. Oh, here, counsel is also lawyer, okay? Here, can you see? Um, It is ordered that the injunction for a period of 12 months commencing from 25 February 2007, the must not. So, who must not do something? Content or the respondent, of course, the respondent. So the respondent must not, one, enter into or continue in the employment of, oh, let's say the name of the company, right? Must not enter or continue in the employment of, this is the name of the company, probably. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, what's the name of the company? WorldLink Limited. So in this case, the correct answer for that is WorldLink Limited. Okay. 2. Divulge. Let's see this word here. This is new for me. Oh, divulge is show, divulgar. It's like in Portuguese. Exactly. Divulge to the same name, the company. WorldLink uh, Limited. Their officers, employees, and/or agents, or to any other person or entity, any computer files, or confidential information relating to travel graph. Okay, confidential information related to travel graph. Costs of the application. The something, the costs of it, of this application. Let's see. Order respondent confidential solicitors to the court set aside. Respondent shall pay the applicant. So the respondent shall pay the applicant the costs of these applications. So in this case, they're saying that the costs of that application is going to be paid by the defendant, not by the supporter, not by the applicant. Okay? At any time to vary or set aside this, sorry, variation or setting aside of this order. The respondent may apply let's see. To present respondent order, contempt of court, solicitor to the court. Yeah, I think it's to the court, isn't it? The respondent may apply to the court at any time to vary or set aside this order. Of course, order. But if he wishes to do so, he must first inform the applicants, solicitors, in writing at least 48 hours beforehand. So this is saying that the defendant could also change that, vary that, or set aside, but he needs to inform the applicant's lawyers about that in writing, okay, in a writing way, in the text, at least 48 hours beforehand. Name and address the applicant's solicitor if you want to defend himself, to answer, right, or to change that in any way. Name and address of applicant solicitors. The applicant solicitors are, so you put your name here. Your name is the name of the company, your law firm. Let me see the name of your law firm. Stringwood and Evans. And the address is 18 Bond Street, London, W1 1KR. Telephone number 02075382892. So you're going to put the number, the name of the office, and also the address here, okay, and the telephone number. All communications to the court about this order should be sent to room E15, Royal Court of Justice, Strand, London, WC2A 2LL, quoting the case number. The office is open between 10 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. Monday to Friday. The telephone number is 00079366148 or 6336. So, this is our first exercise, and we're not going to continue because otherwise the class would be too long. And I hope we can have the opportunity to continue this. If you want to make legal English classes with me, just let me know. Send me a message here or on my cell phone or by WhatsApp, and so we can start to study that together. Okay, hope you enjoy this class. And so that's it. Thank you very much. Bye bye, guys. See you.